Okay, welcome everyone to our Ask an Expert webinar for the month of May. I am very excited because we have Monique Middlekauff today discussing how we can stay motivated and fit at home. And Monique was so generous enough to give us her time at the beginning of the Weight Loss Challenge back in November, talking about fitness and the different types of fitness and how we can utilize cardiovascular exercise versus strength training. And now that we're over halfway through the challenge, we've invited her back to keep us motivated during this weird time that we are in where we don't have access to gyms or maybe some of the other resources available to us that we're used to keep us motivated. So Monique, we are just so grateful for your time and energy again, and I will pass this on to you. I'll share my screen and give you control so you can begin your presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mac. This is so fun. Everyone, I really enjoy using the Teams platform. So I think this is going to be just a perfect environment to be able to not only see me, but to also see the slides together. One thing that I just wanted to point out is because I'm looking outside the window, I am here in Twin, and the weather is pretty gnarly. So if I lose audio, I just have a backup plan of you calling in and using my phone to be able to make sure that we have consistent audio all the way through. So if you wouldn't mind just letting me know in the comments if we lose audio, and then we can just go to plan B. But what are you able to see the screen and see me at the same time?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I should be able to advance all of the slides together, and we have about a half an hour together. So it's kind of this perfect time to be able to talk about the environment that we're all in. I think you can see I'm at home, and many of us are working with completely different work schedules, and that could look very different depending on how COVID has impacted you. I know we all work in healthcare, so in some form or another, we're very impacted by this. Some of us have more time on our hands and more abilities to be able to spend time cooking and preparing nutritious foods, and to spend time with, very fantastic physical activities, or trying new sports activities, or doing things that can help us be more physically fit. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have a lot of people who are going home completely exhausted, so tired, burnt out, feeling just kind of at the end of your rope. So I just want to acknowledge the spectrum of where we all are, because that could look very different to you based on what's happening in your work schedule and in your life. So anytime that I'm going through something really difficult, I think it's just helpful that we pause and we have a moment to just reflect on.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Oh goodness, we might be leaving someone a long voicemail. So
super long voicemail. Matt, do we have an option to mute until the end or towards the end? Is that a possibility?
I think you will have to do it because I am sharing, Monique. So if you I think have control of that versus myself right now. Do you see that?
Got it. Okay. I don't see it, but I think we can just blaze on, and if it becomes a problem, we'll just make a plan. But okay, so the perspective that I just wanted to sort of pause and think about is how we view our environment, and how we view what's happening right now makes such a difference in our experience. So it's easy to feel trapped at home, to feel stuck at home, to feel like our options are limited. But it's also really healthy and helpful to think about all of the safety that we're experiencing at home, and to recognize the environment that we can create in the middle of something that's extremely hard. We live in Idaho, and I just think this is such a beautiful picture of the Perrine Bridge, because there is a lot of beauty that's happening in the middle of very hard things. And I just want to put it in our thoughts for a moment to recognize the gifts that we have been given. It's easy to think that, we have to exercise, and it's something that we have to do in order to lose weight. But really, exercise is such a catalyst for us to experience such a full life, and to be able to get to move our body, and to be able to do things that make us feel alive, and to make us feel like we are capable and strong and confident. Now, do we have a tremendous challenge? Heck yes, we do. I think that's across the board. Of course we do. No matter what we're dealing with, we have a tremendous challenge, but we also are faced with a tremendous opportunity. And I think sometimes just starting and reframing our experiences with that information can be extremely helpful. So just for today, what we're going to tackle in the next few minutes is the goal today is to encourage you and to help you find new motivation in a very hard season. I would love to discuss just practical tools and strategies to help you stay fit at home. I want to discuss overcoming obstacles and setbacks in fitness, especially when things are uncertain. Maybe we have a lot of things that are changing and moving. And then also to give you options to explore ideas to create an environment at home that encourages movement and healthy behavior. I'll show you a simple and a complex version of that. And then lastly, you want to identify some tips and tricks to help prompt additional physical activity, but ultimately to be more consistent lifelong, because we find the most benefits when we're consistent in exercise. So if we're dreading what we're doing, we're going to find ways to bail out of it, right? I am not here to give you a big theoretical presentation or a deep physiology presentation. I want to talk about very practical things that we're experiencing day in and day out that can help us just to kind of meet the needs that we have right now. So I would love to start with overcoming obstacles and setbacks. And one of the things that can be helpful in the time where you might have experienced some weight gain, or you might have experienced just a change in your physical activity for the negative, or potentially you find yourself reaching for more convenience foods or for some comforting foods, I think it's helpful to evaluate your expectations. Are you holding yourself to a reasonable standard right now? Because there is a big difference in the ability and capacity. Sometimes we can have the ability to do lots of things, but we may not have the capacity to do that right now. And if you're finding yourself, at the end of your rope or overwhelmed or just kind of tapped out already, that's probably not the best time to decide that not only are we going to do some hardy caloric restriction, but we're also going to start a very complex exercise regimen. It's probably not going to happen. And to learn a new skill and to deal with being a homeschool parent, surprise, and that can be really challenging. So recognize your expectations. Can you accept bare minimum in this season? And if you find that you have lots of capacity, bare minimum may be a cakewalk for you. But bare minimum also might be something that we set as a new current standard just until we can get through a crisis. A last point on this is to define success and to just evaluate, what does a win or success look like to me right now? What does that look like? Because it might look different than it did a week ago. It might look different than it did a month ago or a year ago. And, where you are at the spectrum, a win might be that I got out and walked for 20 minutes. That might be a very big win. Or a win might be that I prepared food 3 times a day. Or a win might be I took 5 minutes for myself today. Or a win might be I got out of bed. Let's identify what a win looks like to you in this season, because it might truly be different than what you're used to. Now, what happens if you've fallen off the wagon, right? Hello, we're working on weight loss. Everything's going great. It's amazing. We're feeling wonderful. And then whammo, kibosh on our big plans. COVID happened. Everything got turned upside down. What was usual to us and normal felt very unfamiliar all of a sudden. I just want to encourage you not to dwell on the mistake and not to feel like a failure in this season. It's easy to just wash our hands and say, I'm done. Hurrah, let's move on. But don't dwell on that mistake or the things that feel like a problem to you. You have a lot of things thrown on your plate for the first time, and strategizing and implementing a plan is the part that we can succeed from here on out. And I really encourage you to prompt yourself into action. It's easy to say, okay, I'm going to start on Monday, or you know what, I'm going to start my plan as soon as this is over, or as soon as we get through this, or as soon as we do that. And it's easy to just never have that first prompt into action. And I just encourage you to make the best next choice. So if you blew breakfast and you had 3 cinnamon rolls and you comforted yourself with, a lunch of pizza and macaroni and cheese because you just felt like you needed it, don't wait until the next breakfast or the next lunch to fix it. Just have a really healthy dinner. You don't need to punish yourself for your mistakes. You don't need to walk through the shame and guilt spiral. Just make the next best decision and move on with confidence. I just have one more point here to eliminate the all or nothing approach. It's easy to feel like we're on our diet or we're off our diet. We're on our program or we're off our program. But that thinking very rarely serves us. Most of the time, it's that consistent approach that helps us the most. It's not the big grand gesture. It's not the perfect meal. It's not the perfect workout. It's just showing up. It's just trying and consistently giving effort. Now, I just have a few more points on overcoming obstacles and setbacks. It's helpful to identify the problem and to identify what it is. Sometimes we can put blinders on if we're just not wanting to deal with a problem and not recognize that, oh, I actually have gained 11 pounds, or you know what, I actually am not feeling good anymore, or I haven't moved or exercised in any meaningful way in over 30 days. Or, you know, the exercise that I'm doing, I'm just sort of picking it. I'm seeing what's online. I'm kind of grabbing things randomly. Maybe I'm just comforting myself and making less nutritious choices. Just take that, just without any judgment, just take an objective look and see the things that might not be exactly in line with your goals or your intentions. And take a moment to understand why it happened. Because if we're trying to solve the wrong problem, we're going to use the wrong strategy. So just taking a moment to identify, okay, why it happened. I was gaining weight because I was moving less, and I was finding ways to comfort myself because I find that I'm really anxious. I'm really concerned. I don't feel comfortable. My routine is out of whack. It feels strange to me. So I'm just finding ways to comfort myself and to cope through this. Or maybe I'm having difficulty with my schedule or childcare. I don't have the usual things that help serve me. Maybe I have no plan. I have no stress outlet or no motivation. It's going to look different for every one of us. But just take some time to identify in your life what is happening. And then making a plan can help to avoid some future problems. Now, this doesn't have to be a huge elaborate plan where you have Venn diagrams and you're working on a massive chart. It's just setting some intentions in advance to say, okay, when I feel uncertain or anxious and I need comfort, what's my go-to strategy that's not food? Maybe I can use food to make sure I'm feeling full, but maybe what I really need is to take a really warm bath because I like that feeling of being wrapped in comfort. Maybe I want to sit down, wrap myself in a blanket and read a book. Maybe I want to grab some hot tea or a cup of coffee and sit down. Or maybe because I am so anxious and I've got all of this stress and anxiety built up, maybe I need an outlet to get it out. So I'm going to go hit a tennis ball. I'm going to go do something or run to get my stress out. Having some prompts in advance to know when I'm feeling this is my behavior. So my schedule doesn't create time. I will. What are some things that we can do? We can build in physical activity throughout the day so you don't need that big bolus chunk of exercise. If you're feeling like you have no plan, make a plan, put it in a place that you can easily see it, and then say, okay, I will use this plan. This is my plan instead of just guessing or making it up. And then when I have zero motivation, I will. And I'm going to show you that on the very last slide today, because I think it's helpful to know what do we do when we have zero motivation. And just a reminder that the all or nothing approach really does not help us. The consistency is what creates change. Consistency beats perfection. So if you're feeling like you're holding yourself to an unrealistic standard, that's not going to help most of the time. Find ways to just be consistent. And I love this picture just because this woman is showing how to incorporate some physical activity throughout your day. If you're finding that you are flat out exhausted, you don't have time to build in exercise, find ways to include physical activity throughout your day. If you're doing laundry, increase your activity by using that sit to stand or that squat motion. You can do the same thing unloading the dishwasher. Anytime that you have a moment where you can just sit and breathe, you can do some activity in your day. And one of the beautiful things about, not having a lot of businesses open or things that we do in the evening, there's a lot of benefits that we find about exercising at home. And we know that we can look at things with both perspectives, the positives and the negatives. And I'll just go through both of them together because I think it's helpful to be realistic too. So the benefits of exercising at home, for most of us, it's less expensive. The convenience is a huge factor. I think this is probably the number one benefit. That we don't have to drive. You're there, you can accomplish so much that you need. There's no judgment or criticism. You can wear whatever the heck you want, even though it is helpful to get dressed up for exercise. You can wear whatever you want. It's clean. It's up to your standards of cleanliness, whatever that is to you. We have less exposure to pathogens, less exposure to germs and just other things that people might be bringing in. It's your home, it's your environment, it's safe. And it's also quite a big time saver. Now, we also know that there's some challenges too. Challenges of exercising at home. There's no prompt to begin exercise. You know, like if you go to the gym and you walk in the gym doors and you're all dressed up in your clothes, you've got your shoes on, put your earphones in or your music or whatever you're doing, there's that automatic natural prompt to begin exercise. If you're in your home, there's no natural prompt. So we have to prompt ourselves into better physical activity patterns. There's a potential to have reduced motivation. It's easy to just get distracted by the things that we're doing, and it's harder to stay focused. We also know that exercise intensity can be a challenge. It's easy to bail out if no one's watching. It's easy to do your own thing or do it half-heartedly. So we just know there's some challenges and some obstacles that we can look at with realistic eyes and create solutions around. There's often a lot of homes don't have full-length mirrors, and that can actually be problematic if you're needing a mirror to check your form. I just really encourage that. I'll mention that a few times, but having a full-length mirror can be extremely helpful. And then also the issue of distractions. We know it's easy to get distracted by, oop, let me just unload this. Oop, let me just do that. Oop, my kid needs this. Oop, I need to do that. It can interrupt your exercise. So some ways that we can help to make the exercise experience at home the most positive is to create a dedicated exercise space. Now, depending on the size of your home, that might be very practical or it might be more challenging. So if you have space that you can utilize for your exercise dedicated space, it can be extremely simple, just with a few items, or it can be as complex as you want it to be. Having basic equipment can help you significantly, and a mirror can help you monitor form with some visual feedback, making sure that your mechanics are in the right spot. But I really encourage you, no matter how complex or simple your environment is, to build a positive association. If we're thinking of exercise as negative, of hard, it's work, it's pain in the butt, we just hate doing it, we're going to associate our whole exercise environment. My golden retriever is wanting to come join the party. But we're going to associate it with so many negative things. But if we're finding a way to build joy and to find a way to increase the feeling of encouragement and support, and we're doing it by decorating with items that are encouraging and inspiring, we're using colors that make us feel motivated, it really does help. Now, I just have 4 pictures on the screen of just people exercising in their homes with very little equipment. You can use something just as simple as having a yoga mat or a towel available, and you can get in a very high quality workout. So sometimes we think it has to be very elaborate to be more effective, and it doesn't. Even something as simple as having a towel or yoga mat, using some bands like mini bands or TheraBands or loop bands. I just put the ones on the screen that have the handles because I think you have more options and you can do more things in easier ways. They tend to be about $20 or less. So if you're looking for a low cost option, I really encourage you to invest in some bands. Weights with dumbbells or barbells, those can be exceptionally helpful as well. I know right now in this season, because so many people are trying to buy them, there is quite a national shortage. So that might be harder to get your hands on, but we have seen that bands have been a very easy thing to get your hands on. So that's really helpful. Also, having a mirror available makes a big difference. Now, I just love these pictures because this is kind of the dream home gym environment. I don't know if you like home gyms and this is your thing, but I think it's always fun to think about both ends of the spectrum. We could do it very simple and easy just by using a corner or a small space that you can dedicate to your exercise, but you can do it as big as you can dream it. And it's fun when you think about the possibilities of what you could have at home. You could make it incredibly complex and expensive. You could add bikes and treadmills and rowers and ellipticals. If you want to, you could add a squat rack or a cable machine or a full-length mirror, a whole entertainment center. I think exercise is fun. And the thing that is most helpful is that if we're recognizing this is something that I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, I want to make that as simple as possible. I want to make sure that I'm creating an environment that just is exciting to me, that brings me joy, and so that I don't have any reasons to bail out. Now, just in the final 10 minutes, we have about 10 minutes left. I'm going to walk through these individually. We'll go over them, but I just want to give you some tips to improve motivation and to help you stay consistent. So some things like dressing up for the occasion, planning your exercise in advance, setting your intention prior to starting, using technology to your advantage, engaging and entertaining yourself, add variety and trying something new, and rewarding your effort can be really, really helpful. So when we're talking about dressing up for the occasion in your home, it's difficult to have the prompt to get out of whatever you're wearing and into something that you can exercise in. A lot of people sometimes can have this experience of either wanting to stay in the clothes that they were previously wearing or wearing pajamas. And it's just not the same. Oh, are we getting some feedback now?
I think we are. Can everyone just be sure to mute your microphones for us? Thanks. I think it might have went away on us already.
Awesome, Mac. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so pajamas are just not the same. They're really not. And just the act of changing clothes can help prepare your mind for exercise. And it can also help you step into that zone of being able to exercise at that higher intensity, as opposed to, starting a set and wanting to bail out right at the beginning. Change into the clothes and change your mindset. Get ready for your exercise. Planning your exercise in advance makes a huge difference. And it could be just something as simple as, I know I'm going to watch this video, or I'm going to know that I'm going to do these exercises. It doesn't have to be elaborate, but we know just guessing and picking random exercises, it rarely provides the results that we want. So sometimes we can see, people who are posting on Instagram or Facebook or in our social networks, which is awesome because there's so many fitness companies who are stepping up to do that. But if we're just kind of picking haphazardly, we're probably not going to get the exercise that's tailored to us that's going to make the biggest difference in our body. So creating the strategy, know exactly what you're going to do every day. And I love the analogy of like baking bread, that if we're just throwing in our favorite ingredients, like, oh, I love blueberries, but I also love cinnamon, and pineapple is one of my favorites. Okay, I should put a little base. Well, quinoa is something I really enjoy. And then we're trying to mix it all together. We're throwing it in the oven and expecting to get a sourdough bread. It's going to be really disappointing. So making sure that we have the right ingredients in the right order is what helps us get the right results with our exercise. Now, there is a huge difference between health and performance from an exercise perspective. We can talk about some of the simple basics that we need for health, but a lot of us are exercising on purpose to try to get either performance improvements or reductions in our body weight. And if we're doing that, we can't just throw in the exercises that we just like in the moment. We really need to be systematic. One tip I have is to sync your calendar. I just happen to use Apple products, but there's nothing magical about that. In your calendar, you can build in your schedule with your workouts. And so simultaneously on the day, you can get a reminder that you're going to be doing X, Y, and Z workout, and then you can have it all listed out. So you get both things simultaneously given to you, exactly what you're doing and a reminder to do it. Now, if you are new to making plans, I just wanted to give you a sample plan simply as a suggestion to help you as you're getting started. This is just a basic plan that has 3 main components. You're going to see cardio, strength, and flexibility. Now, on that row where it has the cardio row, you can see that we built in a rest day, which is important. We always want to have a rest day in our week. And then it just has multiple different options. I just happen to personally enjoy stationary cycling, so I used it as my example. But you could put in anything that you enjoy. If elliptical is your thing, pop that in and you could use it as the same type of example. So I see that on Mondays, there's 30 minutes of cycling. On Tuesday, it's a 20-minute walk. Wednesday, again, it's a repeat 30-minute cycling. Thursday is a 20-minute walk. Friday's 30-minute stationary cycling, and Saturday is a 20-minute walk. So it's just going back and forth between 2 things so that you know what to do each day. For strength training, we know the recommendation is 2 days a week or more. In this example, I just used an upper body day on Monday, a lower body day on Wednesday, a total body day on Friday, and the other days we would just use our cardio. Flexibility, there is no recommendation for the amount of days per week, but we find the most benefits and the most enjoyment if we're working on flexibility and mobility after most workouts. So about 5 minutes after a workout, Monday through Saturday, we're finding at least spending about 5 minutes just going through some basic mobility exercises can really improve the way that your body functions and giving you that mobility for the duration of your life. So I just put the totals down below just so we can compare them to the guidelines. 150 minutes is what we're shooting for. We hit it so we can put a check mark. The strength training total is 3 days a week, which is more than 2, so we hit that one too. And for the flexibility, there is no specific timeline, but we definitely nailed that as well. Now, if you like complex plans, you can make it as complex as possible. And I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this today, but I just wanted to give it to you as a resource in case that would be helpful. The thing that has changed is largely breaking up the strength training into multiple different days. And as well, I put in something called an RPE, which is just a measure of intensity. Now, this is what that would look like in terms of a measure of intensity. It's a really great scale if you would like to use this at home. It's kind of a way to help identify how difficult your exercise is while you're doing it. So you can see, I'm not sure if you're able to see my mouse, but over here, the 0 is the no exertion at all. So that would be exercise or not exercising. But if you were to do exercise that was kind of challenging, sort of in that moderate and somewhat hard range, then you should definitely recognize, okay, I'm exercising, it's doable, but it is definitely getting challenging. If you're in that 7 range where it's feeling very hard, you're like, whoo, I am pushing it. It's just a helpful tool to recognize how difficult your exercise is, and then you can track that over time. I also just wanted to remind you that it's helpful to set your intention before you exercise. What do you believe? What do you want? And what are you working towards? The belief and our desires help to set our intentions, and intentions move us into action. So if we believe that, there's no way that I could ever get healthy, there's no way that my body's ever going to feel good, I don't, whatever, all of this negativity, if we're having those beliefs about ourselves and we really don't have much of a desire to change, there's really no way that we're going to prompt ourselves into action for any sustainable amount of time. But if we're creating that vision for who we want to be, what we want in our bodies and how we want it to feel, it's going to help us not only set that intention, but also move our bodies into action and that sustainability. And I think anytime you're setting the intention, why does it matter? I think it's so helpful to just bring it back into our remembrance that we're going to have longer life with the disease risk reduction that we get when we're exercising. That we have a higher quality of life, significant improvement in the way that we feel, right? We've talked about this before. We get stronger muscles, our bones are more dense, we have increased mobility, we have increased work capacity, our bodies feel better, we can show up for our families. We don't hide from pictures. We are present in our families. We have that reduction in symptoms of anxiety and depression. Gosh darn it, we feel better. So setting those intentions in advance really helps us. Now, just some other tools I have is use technology to your advantage. Wearable technology, just like having some tools available to you, like a heart rate monitor, an activity monitor, or a pedometer, that can be really helpful. Right now, specifically in this time frame, a lot of companies are offering free or low-cost exercise options. Like Peloton, I believe, is offering a 90-day membership for free. I think Nike Training Club is offering a 60-day membership for free. I encourage you to support our local gyms. We have, I think, Hive Hot Yoga is doing a lot of streamed workouts, Fitness First. That's where you could exercise directly with me. I have a lot of things on Instagram where you could exercise with me for free. I just think it's so helpful to be able to utilize some of the things that we have in this season. Another thing I have just as a tip is to set an alarm and move every 3 hours at minimum. I know with some of our meetings, we can't do that every hour. I totally understand it. But at least at bare minimum, set an alarm to move every 3 hours. Do something that makes you feel excited and motivated. So engage in entertaining yourself. This is a huge one for me to stay consistent. And I hope this works for you as well. But using something like a podcast to listen to those free conversations and the educational content that's available, Audible, because they have books and workouts that you can utilize, Fit Radio, that's my personal favorite. I just found them randomly and I love them so much. They have music that's curated to your taste, and they also do audio coaching. I love it. I enjoy it all the time. Movies and TV shows through the channels that you already have is so helpful. Trying something new in Idaho is an outstanding way to just get yourself engaged, to try a new activity. Tennis is a great one because you don't have to stand close to each other. It's a great socially distanced activity. Walking on the canyon rim is wonderful. There's so many good trails for biking and hiking and getting outside and moving in different ways. Some things that just on a practical level is having a bag packed, loaded with your favorites. Now that could be something like exercise gear or equipment if you wanted to go outside to make sure you have the right kind of shoes. setting up your routine to help you succeed just by having some of the things available. So you're not getting through the day having to stop at fast food because you didn't pack a snack. Have some of those things just built in. It really does make a difference. Have some water in sight. We know things that are out of sight and out of mind. We tend to not reach for them. So put water around your house so that you can have things that are in sight that will prompt you into staying hydrated throughout the day. We already touched on this just briefly, but wearing comfortable shoes and clothes makes a huge difference. If your toes feel pinched, if your feet feel uncomfortable, you're not going to do this well. And know yourself. Know to exercise with a buddy or exercise alone. It makes a big difference. Okay, this is my last slide today. But what do you do when you have zero motivation? You've got nothing. I love this picture of the dog. I think it's so cute. Motivation level 0, nothing. What are we working on? Okay, my suggestions here. I just want to help you to list your goals or reasons and put them in a location that you see frequently. Now, it's helpful, like I just have right in front of me here. It's just a whiteboard. And that's where I just record things that are important to me and I just put them in an area that I'm seeing, I'm looking at them. It makes a difference to me. Set that expectation to accept bare minimum. The CDC's bare minimum is 150 minutes of physical activity in the form of moderate cardio a week. That's 30 minutes a day. That's a pretty high bare minimum, but it's helpful to know what bare minimum is in this season. If you're in zero motivation, play your music of the moment. And I just mean the song that pumps you up in the moment. Sometimes that can change based on season. So whatever the music is right now that just like brings you joy, makes you feel encouraged and motivated and excited, even if you're not feeling it, push play, crank the volume up, and get your body moving. It really does help prompt you into better action. This is my best tip of the day right here. If you heard nothing else, learn this one. The 5-second rule is really helpful if you are in the season of zero motivation. Use the 5-second rule of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Audibly count it down. Say it out loud. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. And at the go point, just prompt yourself into action. So I know I've been wanting to exercise all day. I haven't done it. Literally 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stand up and get moving. Move for 5 minutes and then decide. Then after that, decide, okay, you know what? Today isn't the day. I am having such a rough day. I'm not feeling well. I can't do it. At that point in time, it's okay to make that decision, but not before that time. So it's easy to just stay in those moments where we're not excited, we're not motivated, but prompting that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stand up and get moving, move for 5 minutes, and then most of the time, you're going to have that increased blood flow. You're going to have those increased endorphins that make you feel better. All of that kind of hormonal environment of increased serotonin and dopamine and epinephrine makes you feel better. So you can continue on that intention that you had previously set to get moving and to live a healthy life. Okay, friends, that's all I have for us today. Do you have any questions? Oh, I just have a slide. Did we meet our objectives? I think we did. I think we met them today. Do you have any questions for me or anything that we can talk about together? Rosie, thank you. Matt, did you happen to see, did we have any questions? I'm so sorry. I actually wasn't I wasn't paying attention to the comment panel, so I didn't see if there are any questions that came in.
So I actually couldn't see the chat box on my end because of the screen. So I did not see anyone. We just looked like we have a question about muting people. People were able to see your mouse. Beth Grace said, thank you, Monique. You're an inspirational speaker. Awesome. Rosie says, thank you. Serenity says, thank you. Tammy says she wished you could work out with you. That's great. Michelle loves your 5-second rule. And then we have Lisa saying, thank you so much for the presentation. So does anybody have questions for Monique? Monique, tell them what your favorite go-to saying is when you were telling me yesterday, what's your saying?
Yes. Okay. I know this is silly, but we all tend to have like a mantra or something that helps us get through really tough exercise. So here's the 2 things that I use. The first point, and if you're right in the middle of it and it's really tough, is this work or is this pain? That's the first thing to know. What am I going to do? If we know that it's not pain and it's just work, my mantra that I use over and over and over is just give effort. Just give effort. because we can't always control the outcome, but we can always control our effort. And that helps me not bail out. It helps me not to quit in the middle of the set, to not, not find a way to, shut it down for the day. Just give effort. That's my mental prompt.
Love it. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Monique. And Jen's, we do have a question. Michelle says, when I'm unmotivated, I use this one that I read in a book. The 20-minute walk I do is better than the 4-mile run that I don't do. That's beautiful, Michelle. Love it.
Michelle, that is beautiful. Yes. Oh, and then I see Jen said, yeah, did I hear that you're streaming workout sessions somewhere? Yes, I have multiple ones that you can watch for free, Jen. I have it online. I have it actually on YouTube, on my Facebook, and my Instagram. It's Fitness for Us, and you can find me on Instagram at fitnessforus.com or fitnessforus_Monique. And they're just full-length workouts that you can work out with me for free. Or fitnessforus.com is where you can work out with me with professional videos.
Lovely. It's great. And one other thing I do want to mention is if you are a St. Luke's employee today, our program coordinator, Erin Barker, is going to be doing a Wellness Wednesday midday move. So she's going to be hosting a 10-minute stretching session live via Teams. So if you're at home working today and are ready to get moving after this presentation here in a little bit, please go ahead and just email us at theweightloschallenge.org and we can send you the invite to that Wellness Wednesday move, midday move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mac.
Thank you so much, Mac.
After this presentation, we might have to get Monique to do a Wellness Wednesday for us.
Well, I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to help.
Perfect. Sarah asked, can you send us the workout links? So Monique, would you mind emailing me the links and I can send them out in our in an email with the PDF PowerPoint slides and the recording? That'd be great. And then, repeat your Instagram page.
Oh, yeah, you betcha. I can just type it here for sure. Underscore Monique. Yeah, you got it. So it's fitnessforus_Monique. That's how you, and how you can find which ones you want to do. I mean, there's tons of companies that can do all sorts of different workouts, but the ones that I just put up for COVID, because I thought it would be helpful, they're very low equipment. And so I just did one yesterday that's a box workout. There's one that's a banded workout. There's one that's for upper body. There's one that's for lower body. You can just find what might be helpful for you, and feel free to just watch it, play through, and then decide if that would be something that you want to. But there really are so many good options right now. Find the thing that you enjoy, because if you enjoy it, you're going to stick with it. It makes a huge difference.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. Oh, we do have one question here. It says, how do we choose what exercise or workout to do? Oh, you just mentioned that one. Never mind. We're good on that. Perfect. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you, Monique. That was fabulous as always. And everyone, we did record the webinar today, so that will be coming out in next week's e-tip. And Monique has shared her slides with us, so those will be coming out as well as her links to all the resources she mentioned. So thanks for attending, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great one. Bye-bye.